What's up, everybody? Arrg the Pirate here, and today I'm going to be playing a little Aurora in the offlane. As always, let's go over the deck. Now I have Auto Health Potion, Healing Towers, Armored, Shredding Strikes, Armor Aura, and lastly Onslaught for my gems. Now for my cards, I have Chanting Shaman, Exoskeleton, Font of Experience, Flame of Zetchin, Green Spring, Astral Leap, Growth Totem, Vital Waters, Echelon Soldier, Thunder Cleaver, Vengeful Mare, and lastly, Unbroken Spirit. Now this was a requested video. I know I came out with an Aurora video not that long ago, and this is actually the same deck that I used on her. I call it the Anywhere Aurora deck because it does well with both offlane and support roles, and you can kind of tune it to what you like. You know, that getting Astral Leap on is absolutely amazing. But let's kind of get into this. Now, first off, you want to freeze the lane, which is exactly what I'm doing here. What this is going to do is my minions are going to stay back, and the enemy's minions are going to push very far forward. And this is already going to start kind of starving the ADC. It's going to take them a while to actually get this set correctly. And if I play my cards right, I can actually keep this lane very close to my tower, which is allowing me to stay a little safer than, you know, just running around or having that lane pushed up very far. Now, this is one of the very many benefits by having Aurora in that off lane. You can really starve the ADC, especially with a melee ADC. You know, you can potentially get some ganks and things like that. So being able to put that Glacial Charge on and freeze that lane in the early game is absolutely huge. Now, this is actually one of the longest matches I've played at about 45 minutes, and so I'm going to speed through a lot. Of course, I will show the full gameplay, but, you know, I definitely want to keep it a little quicker because no one wants to watch a 45-minute video. Now, I'll kind of slow it down at those key points and really talk about what I'm doing. Now, if you see here, I am fairly low on health, and, you know, I'm just kind of waiting around. Getting last hits under tower is absolutely huge, and, you know, even though I suck at it, you know, I've only got 9 farms so far. You know, I'm terrible at getting last hits. You should definitely concentrate on getting last hits. I'm actually having a conversation with our mid laner. You know, we're in calm, so, you know, I'm not paying as much attention as I should. You know, I definitely don't have my try-hard gloves on during this match, but you can see I'm just hanging out under tower. I'm really just kind of letting that healing tower get me back to full health. I could push up, you know, I did miss a little XP farm, but that's what Font of Experience is for. That really allows me to stay back and not have to worry about them pushing into my tower, or if they get out of range, you know, I can stay safe. Now, our Shimby does head in, and so I'm going to do everything I can to, you know, help get this gank. You know, unfortunately, their Yin does get out. You know, that phase blind still does kind of affect things, but we are able to wrap up that phase. Now, I head down to just make sure Yin doesn't follow our Shimby. You know, Shimby wasn't just fully healthy, and Yin might be able to take her at this point, but I definitely don't want to risk that, so I jump down. You know, as soon as Yin backed off, I'm going to do the same. Now, if you see here, I'm not pushing my lane. And why I'm doing that is because I don't want this lane to push. I want to keep it close to my tower. Even though, you know, it's still pretty far up, I would like to keep it as close as I can because this will really allow me to get, you know, more and more farm. Now, if you see, I failed with that Glacial Charge. I went up that wall, and the minions were actually able to just simply walk around that. So, you know, I definitely need to... when you use your Glacial Charge, you need to have a little bit of a distance ahead of that minion wave, as well as, you know, you need to get into a good position to actually be able to hit that. Now, Yin does come down to, you know, try to get this green buff, or the gold buff, I'm sorry, and I'm able to get some pretty significant damage on her. Unfortunately, I didn't take her out, but that's quite alright. I'm actually going to shove this lane into tower. Now, the reason I want to do that is I want the tower to kill my minions. On top of that, I'd like to get the siege in there, but I want that tower to kill my minions. That way that lane resets and it will start meeting back up in the middle. I have successfully set the lane for them to where they can slow farm it. And that is not what we want. We want that lane to be close to my tower because it's a pretty big deal when the enemy team can rotate. And, if I'm having to stay all the way up at the enemy's tower, I'm in a very bad position and I'm in a very bad place to farm. So I want that lane to be at my tower. Luckily, you can see that the minion waves are already reset and they're pushing back towards me. This is exactly what I want. This is going to allow me to farm, fairly safe. And since I am Aurora, I have my Glacial Charge and I can just simply Glacial Charge right back to my base. Now, I do have a level advantage over the enemy, the carry and the ADC, and this is going to allow me to, do more damage. But since I did not put on a damage card, I do just have Green Spring, I don't want to run the risk of using my ult and not actually getting a kill. So, I'm just going to play that laning game. I'll save my ult till I know we can get a kill. If I get some rotation from our Shimby or something like that, which she has done a pretty good job of being in the lane so far, we will be able to, get a really easy kill with my ultimate. Now, I am, about a third health, so I need to head back to my tower and just hang out in my tower, let the healing towers do its job. I'm actually going to wait for these minions to come in. You can see I am tanking a little bit of these minions, but the reason I'm doing that is I don't want Yin to come into my tower. And I can tank these minions over at running the risk of her coming into tower with phase, having them ult and just shred my tower. So that's kind of the idea behind that. Of course, you should always let that minion wave push in, but since I am facing a melee ADC, I'm kind of running that risk of, hey, can I actually zone them out even though I'm low? And it worked pretty well, especially since Shimby showed up. Now let's talk a bit about rotating. Now, I typically like to stay in my lane until my tower falls and then I can set a lane and rotate, but I've done a very good job of keeping them out of my tower. So I'm going to actually head to mid lane. Now, Arrg actually goes down here, and since my lane is pushed up so far, and I've got so much health on my tower, I'm not running that big of a risk by heading over to this mid lane, cleaning this wave up, at least keep this siege minion out of that lane, and then I can head back to my lane. And by that time, I might take a little bit of tower damage, but that's quite alright. I kind of want my tower to fall. It's almost 10 minutes into the match. My tower needs to fall so I can rotate safely and, have that freedom to rotate. Because, being able to rotate and really provide for my team is what Aurora's good at. She's very good at showing up, using her ult, getting a ton of damage and a ton of CC, and, just wasting away the enemy team. So that's what I'm kind of waiting for. And we get a good chunk of damage on this T1 on the enemy side, but, there's no need to die for this. And as soon as FaZe ulted, it's time to get out. You could see I used my little frozen cologne to take tower from the aggro, which, Shimby, she really should have got out there. That tower is one hit away, but you should never die for a T1. It's just not worth it, especially an offlane T1. We really want our T1 to fall on the safe lane side. That will free our ADC up to rotate, but it's not quite as important on the offlane side. Of course, you want to get towers down, but dying for T1s is never worth it, guys. And you can see that tower's one hit away. As soon as I get the next minion wave in there, I'm going to just go in, poke it, and it's going to be done. Which, to be quite honest, I could already do that. I could just dive that tower and get it down, but getting that tower down is not going to, free me up to rotate. I'm still going to have to deal with this ADC and support in my lane. So until my tower falls, that's really when I get freed up to start rotating. And this is key. This is another reason why you should not die as, for a T1. It's just not worth it, guys. Now, we do end up getting some rotation from Narbash, and, I really just didn't feel this was necessary. it would really be good to get that safe lane tower down so that way they can rotate. But since Narbash is rotating, you can see our Twin Blast is struggling against that Chimera, and, that's painful. Now, again, Shimby and me head into this tower, and, hey, it's time to get out. We don't have any minions. There's no reason to stay, and Shimby stays in again. And, she's just feeding the carry at this point. Sure, the tower is officially one hit, but, that's the second time she's died for this T1, and dying for towers is not worth it at all. And especially if you're dying twice to it, that's taking her out of farm, that's feeding the carry. No good is coming out of dying for towers, especially if you're not downing them. Now, I know what you're saying. You're going, hey, Arrg, you could have stayed in there and hit that tower once and downed it, and yes, I could have. But again, this is that same issue that I spoke of just a second ago. This is not going to free me up to rotate. It might free me up for that initial push, but eventually the ADC and the carry or the ADC and the support are going to push back to my lane, and I'm going to have to be there because I don't believe in giving away free towers. And you can see that tower got aggro on a single minion. I walk up, hit the tower. It's simple as that. There is no need to die for towers. But again, I'm not really free to start really rotating until my tower goes down and I can actually start setting lanes, because if the enemy team actually pushes my tower down and if I've rotated to the other side of the map, by the time I get all the way back over, the enemy team might have already got a significant damage on my T2. So I need to be here when this T1 falls so I can set this lane and get it pushing in a positive direction. If I just let them freely take it and continue to push, that is very, very bad for not only me, but my team. And again, that is why you don't want to die for T1s, guys. Now, I did try to freeze off this minion wave. The ADC's got a couple of kills. She's getting fed. We're 14 minutes into the match. She hurts pretty good, and you can see her chunking down my tower. Now, if you see here, I know that tower's going to fall. I get out, guys. Don't stay under that tower. Not only should you not die for a T1 taking it down, you shouldn't die to protect it. T1s are designed to fall, so just get out. Now, if you see, we've got a pretty good sized minion wave, and I don't have a whole lot of power, so I'm just going to go ahead and set this lane. Now, you set this lane by taking out the ranged minions, and this is going to allow my lane to push against the enemy's lane, and this is going to free me up to rotate to mid, because the ADC and the carry, I said it again, guys, the ADC and the support, they have both rotated, and, I need to know where they are, everything like that, so I can make positive plays. And sure enough, you see Yin's hiding out in the jungle right here. I'm going to go ahead, I head in, use my ultimate. We've got just a ton of people here in mid, but unfortunately, just with the lack of communication, we're not able to really make anything happen. And that is an issue. I am in comms with Gideon, but, we just aren't communicating quite like we should. Like I said earlier, we're having a bit of a conversation instead of, truly focusing on the game as much as we should. So, that little lack of communication, it really prevented us from actually getting a kill. And our Gideon ended up going down right there, which is never anything that you want. Now again, guys, this is a very long match, so I'm going to spend a little bit more time than normal speeding things up. Now, I am facing off against their Gideon in this mid lane, and that was just to really wait for our Gideon to come back in. He is a little under-farmed right now, so I want to try to get him as much farm as possible, and by pushing that lane, I reset it a little bit and then went and froze it. Now, the enemy team, you can see, they're pushing my offlane, so I need to head back to my offlane, and I'm going to, again, set it. By taking out those ranged minions, this is going to allow that lane to stack up, and I'm able to head back to mid. Now is a perfect time to make something happen. I've got my ultimate, Gideon has his ultimate, hopefully Narbash has his ultimate. We should be able to make something happen, and we're just kind of waiting for the right opportunity. But that opportunity kind of slipped through us, and, hey, it's really not that big of a deal. We can wait. waiting for the perfect opportunity is kind of key, especially with such a CC heavy group as us. Narbash has that great CC ultimate, Gideon and Aurora. The Gideon and Aurora combo is just such a pain, guys. I really don't like seeing it, but that's what we decided to choose, and I wanted to make an Aurora video, so this is what we get. Now, Narbash does have Invis buff, and you can see we're able to kind of work together. Gideon heads in with his ultimate, freezing everybody or stunning everybody. I'm able to freeze everybody, and Narbash is able to knock everybody up. That's CC nightmare. So we're able to get quite a bit of damage. We get a great 3 pick, and now is a perfect time to be pushing lanes. And our Shimby is pushing that off lane, which pushing an offlane solo at this point is going to be difficult, but she should be able to get a pretty significant amount of damage on that offlane T2, as well as we'll be able to take down that T1 in mid. Now, once I head back to lane, now's a perfect time to get Raptor. We took out a T1, their T1 in mid, and we took out that T2 in the offlane, so they're distracted, and we should be able to get in hit, or we should be able to get Fang. It took a while for our team to rotate over, and, even with the ping system is just so bad right now. I really hope that gets fixed in version 44.3, and so, it's actually a lot more visible or a lot more notifying, but right now, the ping system is just not good. So, hopefully we see a change on that, but we ended up securing our first Raptor, so we're making some good plays. Now, I do need to head back to my offlane, and you can see I go ahead and just ult. I don't want to deal with that Yin coming into tower, especially with phase. They might actually be able to take down this tower with that ult. The Yin phase ult is really hard to deal with. So, I just went ahead and zoned them out with my ultimate, and I'm just kind of waiting for a rotation from my team. Hopefully we'll get one, and sure enough, Shimby heads over, and she helps kind of alleviate this pressure that I'm getting. The Yin phase combo would definitely outlive me, with the amount of regen, everything they have, I would slowly burn through my mana. So it's great that we did have that rotation, and that actually zoned them out. Now, Narbash and Twin are collapsing on Yin and phase, and it's like, okay, great, let's go for it, and we have a 4v3, but unfortunately that Stasis Rune was able to take out Twin Blast. That was not the best engagement, and, they probably should have waited to actually engage, or I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but our Twin just absolutely got melted. And, that's a bit unfortunate. We are losing, we're dominating the tower game, but we are losing the kill game. And that's painful. Now, from here, I'm going to head to the safe lane. Chimera is pushing it, pretty well. So I need to head over and take him out. And sure enough, we're able to take him out. Now, I guess he thought he could jump over that ice wall. Guys, you can't jump over the ice wall. Or the Torafrost. It does freeze you. And we are actually able to take out this Chimera. That's good. I'm not exactly sure if their Chimera is offlaning or if their Shimby. I haven't really been paying attention all that much. But, the Chimera, he is fairly fed at this point, so I am sure he's playing offlane. And, that is a bit of a concern. We got to be careful with that. Now, our Narbash is here, and I'm out of mana. I don't have anything to help him, and he decides to go in on that and waste his thunk, waste his ultimate, and we've just had some really bad plays on our teams. The Shimby is being hyper aggressive, and she's dying for towers right and left, and doing plays like that where, Twin Blast and Narbash just a minute ago, and we are slowly feeding their team. We might be winning the tower game, but they're getting more farm than us, and that is huge. So, hopefully our team, if any of y'all are watching this, you can see playing that aggressive is great, but you have to pick the right time and, area to actually play that aggressive. Now, I do kind of zone out these minions again. I use that ice wall to just keep them out of the tower for a little bit, and this is going to allow my minions to head over and take that aggro so, they're not directly hitting the tower. And again, we're going to just kind of do the laning thing, get this lane pushing in the right direction, and hopefully see if we can rotate. Now, since their support and ADC did rotate, I have not seen them. So I've got a sneaky suspicion that they're going in on Fang, and, I'm like, hey, let's go to Fang, and sure enough, as soon as I ping it, Narbash already had the same idea, and we're heading over there, and they're taking Fang right now. Now, unfortunately, we're not able to secure Fang, but we go ahead and take out this ADC and support combo, which, that's great. We were able to get our ultimate off, which completely negated FaZe's ultimate, and now is the time to push lanes. Now, I just going back in the recording and seeing that cold buff, I just now noticed that was there. I probably should have taken it, but, whatever. Let's push this lane, and hopefully we can actually get this into the inhib. That would be amazing, and with my team actually securing a couple of their own kills, all that's left is Shinbi, so we should be able to make just a massive play here. Now, our Shinbi ends up heading over, so we're in a 2v1 lane, as well as my team is just going crazy in mid lane. And sure enough, we're able to go in on this inhib. Again, our Shinbi, I'm trying not to body block her, but she's very unfed right now. She's very weak, and I really wish she would have got out instead of actually engaging on that, but it's quite alright. We're going to take out this inhib, as well as get that mid inhib. I almost go down here, man, I'm too quick. So we end up actually getting out, which was very, very lucky. You can see Shinbi used her ultimate. She just didn't quite have enough stacks on me. And, again, we're able to get out. We just took out 2 inhibs. That's huge. That is absolutely massive. And being at, 28 minutes in, this is good for our team. And we should be able to come back and wrap this match up shortly. But, again, spoilers, guys, this is a long match. Now, I do head back to base, and I am able to put on that Unbroken Spirit, so I've got some decent basic armor, and I've got some decent ability armor, and, protection against some CC. So, I've got a very solid build going with Growth Totem. I'm very happy with this build. Now, their Chimera is here, and I see him coming in, so I'm like, hey, I'm clearly getting ganked. Sure enough, Shinbi is here, and I'm just going to take this opportunity and dip out, which actually works in my favor because, hey, we've got a collapse in mid, and I can head up there and we can really make something happen. Now, we did just take out their Gideon, so, now's the perfect time to keep pushing. We've got their inhibs down, let's keep going. And I had no idea my team just turned around and left me. That it would have been there was all 5 of us there. There was no reason we shouldn't have kept pushing that. But yeah, my team decided to go for Fang right there, which, I would have really liked to end. And this is what really cost us our momentum. Our team making the choice to go for Raptor. If you wanted to go for a big objective like that, we should have gone for Prime. It was really a bad time to go for Raptor, and without knowing that my team was just leaving me, they were all right behind me. We could have definitely capitalized on that. I did end up using my ult. If Gideon or Narbash would have been there, we'd have just got a crazy team wipe. But, is what it is, guys. It's unfortunate, but, we gotta deal with what we get. Now, I am going to just kind of push lanes, or push the only lane that really needs to be pushed anymore. But I do have to maintain my off lane. And I head back there, sure enough, they're pushing it. They did get Prime. While my team was picking up the Raptor, the enemy team actually went and got Prime. So, all in all, that was just a terrible, terrible choice. And you see the enemy team's able to pick up another Raptor. So, instead of ending in that first engagement or going for the better objective, my team choosing to pick up Raptor, it really cost us. It cost us quite a bit. But we get another great team engagement. We're able to take down Gideon and their Shinbi. So, we should be able to make something happen from here. Push lanes, things like that. And we're just not having quite the communication, quite the, offense that we need to have. And with me not being just the most offensive hero, it is a little bit of a struggle. Now, there's not an entire lot we can do in this lane. You know, we've already got the inhib down. You know, there's really no reason to keep pushing this lane other than to keep the pressure up and force the enemy, force the enemy team back. And that's, kind of exactly what we do here. And I'm really just waiting for Shinbi to get that lane situated so we can actually take down this T1 or this T2 in the safe lane. But, my team ends up deciding to head over and deal with that Chimera, which, hey, that's not a bad choice either. We can get kind of a split push going, and with our Gideon spawning back in, we should be able to really apply some pressure somewhere, maybe even get this other inhib down, and, just kind of keep this pressure up, keep pushing. We are winning, the tower game, we're winning the objective game. We only have 2 Raptors, but, yeah, we should have very little struggles at this point. But the biggest struggle with this match is we're not being aggressive at this point. At this point, we need to play aggressively. We can't play passively. And the choices that we're making to be aggressive are just not quite the right type of choices. And, that's really kind of affecting things. Now, I go ahead and head in on this Gideon. I knew I was not going to be able to take Gideon out on my own. I wasn't even going to try. What I did want to do was take away his bubble. That way, my ultimate will hit him. Aurora's ultimate does not work if someone has Spell Shield. So I wanted to remove that. Now, we get an absolute amazing, attempt anyways to get a couple of kills there, and it fell apart. We did not quite have the rotations and things that we needed to happen. We didn't have the focus we needed to happen. That was a very good play, and we got a great ultimate there, but just everybody was able to get out, and it, like I said, it was unfortunate. And we are getting some damage on the tower. We've got a minion wave into the tower, so we are showing a little bit more progress here. And, we did get a lot of pressure there. We took out their Shinbi, which, using that much of everybody's kit for Shinbi isn't always the best, but, hey, it worked very well in this situation, and hopefully we can keep this progress going. Now, again, my team chooses Fang over Prime, but, now's the time to pick up Prime, guys. We should never choose Fang over Prime. Prime is just the best, it's a siege buff, and it could really end the game. But, it's really unfortunate that their team, their team was onto it. After we took Fang, they saw us all rotate over, they knew what was going on. It ended up being a bad situation. And they ended up snagging Prime from us. This is not the end of the world. Losing Prime this way is not all that bad. We do get a triple kill. It ended up being very good. But the real issue is we're making decisions that shouldn't be made. Picking up Raptor over Prime is never worth it. This being able to have Prime right now would give us just a huge advantage. And you can see we do have our off lanes being pushed a little bit, and we have 3 of our team rotate over to deal with that. When we should be pushing lanes, now's the time to push lanes. And again, these are bad decisions that are being made. There should never be 3 people head over to get that when we have 3 of the enemy down. We could very easily get that inhib, but I can't do it alone. Gideon, yeah, he could come over and help, but it's we should not be focusing 3 people in one lane in that situation. Now, Shinbi is very tricky to deal with, especially since she does have Numbing Rogue on. You can see, or Plague Lord on, and you can see she's able to just slow us down. And again, us going for these bad decisions, these, not quite good plays. We've drugged this game out, 15 minutes longer than it should have been. Chimera does chase me a little bit, and we're able to take him out, which, that was a poor choice on his part. I was kind of baiting him a little bit, and sure enough, he fell for it. We're able to wrap him up, but, he did have Prime, and that's a big deal. Now, I do kind of hang her out in mid lane. You know, I want to make sure Shinbi gets out. I don't have a lot for her, but, you know, I might be able to just scare someone off just by looking at them. Sure enough, she does get out. You know, our Gideon does end up going down, but that's quite all right. From here, I'm going to head to our safe lane. You know, our safe lane is still the only one with an inhib up, and hopefully we should take this out. You know, when Shinbi is here, Shinbi's done a pretty good job of pushing lanes. You know, I think she is playing just a little too aggressive, but she's done a fairly decent job of always being in a lane and pushing it, you know, which, yeah, choosing a jungler, you know, you could argue one way or another, but we end up actually going down here. You know, they had a great team collapse, and again, you know, this is me getting just a little bit too pushy. You know, we're at 41 minutes now. You know, this is a very, very long game. I want to say this is the longest game I've played since version 42 came out. So, you know, I'm kind of going, hey, you know, we need to make something happen, but playing stupid and running out there is not the way to make it happen, and that's exactly what I did. You know, that was 100% on me. You know, I should not have made that choice, but I did. Now, I decided to go ahead and throw on Echelon Soldier. I have not used this card. I tried it out on Richter, and, you know, it was neat, but I just wasn't the biggest fan of it. So I decided to throw it on Aurora and say, hey, you know, maybe it could help. I think at this late stage of the game, it's probably not near as important or near as helpful, but, you know, hey, I'm going to try it. Now, here is kind of going to be my last example of something that you can do that you might be doing differently. Now, I'm going to wait for these minions to come to me. I know they have some teammates with them, and I would rather not go meet them head on. I'm just going to wait for these minion waves to kind of stack up. If I were to just run out there, all I do is take poke damage, and I see a lot of people doing that. Just wait for those minion waves to team up. At this stage in the game, you can die very, very quickly, especially with a Yin there. So just kind of hang out and wait for that wave to come to you. You don't need to go to it. Now, we do end up heading to Raptors. You know, Yin's here by herself. I'm just going to go ahead and ult her. You know, I'd rather take out the ADC. I don't want her to get away. I grabbed that purple buff just to keep it out of her hands, and sure enough, we're able to take her out. We do spend a little bit more than I want. You know, a Narbash ult going out at the end, that might have been a little too much, but hey, we've got two pretty big ults down, but getting that ADC out is just huge. And the enemy Shinbi actually went down a minute ago as well, so that's another great play. Now, we do kind of collapse onto this Chimera. I heard a Shinbi, I heard a Shinbi ult go off right there, so that's why I turned around. I was going, you know, is the enemy here? But it was just our Shinbi. I guess I just heard something funny, but I turned around because I thought enemies were behind us. Sure enough, you know, we're able to wrap up that Chimera kill, and we're able to finally push down and end this match. Well, guys, this was definitely a long game. You know, I'm not even joking about that. We should have won this game, you know, 15, 20 minutes ago. Maybe not 20, but at least 15 minutes ago. You know, we had the potential to do it. And just going for Raptors and then allowing the enemy team to pick up Prime when they did. You know, that Prime play on their part didn't really do a whole lot for them, but it did a huge amount for us. You know, they kept it out of our hands, which is just huge. And then, you know, losing Prime that second time, which wasn't as bad since we did get that 3 pick. But you could see we just were not working well as a team, and that's something that really has to be changed if you don't want to play 45-minute matches. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this Aurora guide, and I really hope this helped. You know, this was for a sub, and I really hope it helped show you a few things about playing her in the offlane. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and if you did enjoy, show me some love, leave me a comment, think about subscribing, and as always, I'll see y'all in the next video.